Prince Harry speaking out in a really revealing new interview.
You didn't believe she was dead.
I just refused to accept that she was gone. Part of, she would never do this to us, but also part of, maybe this is all part of a plan. I think she would be sad. I think she'd be looking at it long term, to know that there are certain things that we need to go through to be able to heal the relationship.
Do you remember the popular tragic car crash that happened in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel?
Thursday marks 20 years since Princess Diana was killed in a car crash inside a Paris tunnel.
Yes. We're talking about the one that claimed the life of Princess Diana. Do you know the incident has been shrouded in mystery and speculation? Well, not anymore, as the truth has finally been revealed, and it has been all we have been suspecting about. Prince Harry's revelation about his mother, Princess Diana, has stunned the world. In an unexpected move, he confirmed the long-standing theories suggesting her tragic death was not an accident, but an orchestrated inside job.
Shocking allegations about Princess Diana's death. Authorities now reviewing the new and sensational claim that she was actually murdered by the British government.
This admission has sent shockwaves globally, igniting debates and discussions everywhere. Stay with us as we delve into one of the most heart-wrenching events in modern royal history: the impact of Prince Harry's revelation. The British royal family, already under intense scrutiny and criticism for various reasons over the years, is now faced with a new wave of skepticism and distrust, with the public and media frequently asking several questions such as, how far does the involvement of the establishment go, and to what length they would go to protect their interest? The idea that a member of the royal family could be targeted in such a manner by those living within the same circle is deeply unsettling if we're to be unbiased about it, and this act raises ethical and moral questions about the length power can corrupt.
With Prince Harry's tell-all memoir dominating headlines, it's hard not to wonder if the royals can survive the latest scathing attack.
However, Harry's revelation challenges the narrative that has been upheld for decades. The official story had initially provided a sense of closure, although it was a painful one to the millions of people who mourned the late Princess Diana. With Harry's new information, the public is forced to revisit and reassess their understanding of the events. It was a jarring experience, as many had come to terms with the tragedy based on the information that was previously available. Well, that was the case until recent times. Now they are confronted with the possibility that there was a deliberate and malicious intent behind the loss of a figure who was not only a royal icon, but also a humanitarian and a beloved public personality. But wait, there is more to Harry's revelation.
Prince Harry says he held on to hope that Princess Diana was secretly still alive long after her passing.
Harry's admission didn't just come at the cost of revealing the truth behind Princess Diana. He also used the medium to express concerns about his personal life and the struggles he has been going through within the royal family. Harry is known for his willingness to speak out. Harry has always been seen as a rebel, a person who is unafraid to challenge the status quo, especially his decision to break away from the royal family and relocate to the United States with his wife Meghan Markle was simply a clear indication of his desire to forge his path.
A royal reversal from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. They are stepping back from senior roles in the royal family. Harry and Meghan say they will work to become financially independent.
From Harry's revelations, it is evident that his actions were driven not just by personal choice, but also by a deep-seated to uncover and confront the truth about his mother's death. Even though his relationship with the media is complex, Harry is looking to set things right. So what are the revelations about Princess Diana Harry seems to know about? And is this move the preferred option for Harry? Then pay attention if you care to know more. The world's reaction to Prince Harry's revelation has been one of shock and disbelief. The whole world is talking about it. Social media is in a frenzy state, with each user to their own opinion, debates, discussions, and expression of their outrage and sorrow. Princess Diana was loved by everyone, and when the news about her passing in that crash, it sent everyone into a cold state as they mourned her.
As dawn breaks on the day of Princess Diana's funeral, the crowds are already gathering on the streets of London. 20,000 extra policemen and women have been drafted in to monitor the crowds.
Prince Harry's statement could potentially prompt a reinvestigation into Princess Diana's death, and if those responsible are found wanting, the public isn't looking for this case to be taken lightly. We don't care how powerful or influential whoever is responsible for this may be. They can't go unpunished. One user said, "Princess Diana was an icon, admired and beloved by millions around the world. Her humanitarian work and compassionate nature endeared her to people far beyond the confines of the British Commonwealth. So the revelation about her death, being an orchestrated act and not an accident, will undoubtedly shock and dismay her global admirers, and can even lead to international calls for justice by countries with close ties to the British monarchy, such as Australia, Canada, and New Zealand." For historians and scholars, Prince Harry's admission opens up new avenues for research and analysis. The historic analysis surrounding Princess Diana's death will have to be reassessed in light of this new information. Researchers, investigators, journalists, media personnel, and the public might likely want to delve into this ongoing situation, which looks bad for the British royal family. It won't be news when researchers choose to delve into archives, conduct interviews, and re-examine existing evidence in attempts to piece together a more accurate and complete picture of the events leading up to her death.
We're taking photographs of her dying on the back seat, and then those photographs made their way back to news desks in this country.
This scholarly work will be crucial in separating facts from rumors and ensuring that the historical record reflects the truth. Most likely, educational institutions may incorporate this case into their curricula, as this revelation provides an opportunity to discuss critical themes such as justice, ethics, and overall power. So, don't be surprised when you come across this topic in perhaps one of your history or political science classes when your tutor decides to talk about the history of Princess Diana, the stories behind her death, and what led to it. Was it an accident, just as it has been painted? Or was Prince Harry right when he brought it out open and to the public, claiming that her death was carefully planned and orchestrated?
Today's revelations may not add to the evidence, but certainly add to the intrigue. Her chilling prediction reads, "This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous."
However, it might seem you should put it at the back of your mind that you saw it first. Hence another reason why you should subscribe to our channels to always keep you posted and informed about trending topics. Now, back to our discussion. Prince Harry's journey is emblematic of a broader struggle for truth and justice. His guile to speak out, even though he is quite familiar with the consequences, highlights his integrity. Prince Harry's action will serve in history as a powerful example for others, encouraging them to stand up for what is right, even when is difficult or dangerous. At the end of the day, what matters is doing the right thing. And as for the royal family, the fallout from this revelation will be a significant challenge. The institution might need to navigate a complex and hostile landscape, trying to balance the need to protect members from within the royal family and safeguard their legacy. As for the relationship between Prince Harry and his family, well, it has already been strained, especially with the conflict going on between him and King Charles. With this new admission and revelation, it is impossible to avoid the fact that the entire royal family will likely face further challenges. Speaking of the conflict between Harry and King Charles,
King Charles is reportedly open to a truce with his estranged son, Prince Harry, after receiving what's been described as religious.
well, there's one find we have made, and we're sure it'll keep you watching. The next scene has the details. Prince Harry, revelation about King Charles. Prince Harry has revealed a shocking truth about his father, King Charles. These revelations from Harry were shared during a candid interview, have sparked intense debate, and shed new light on the complexity going on within the royal family. Prince Harry has been increasingly vocal ever since distancing himself from the royal family. In his interview, Harry didn't hold back when discussing his relationship with King Charles. He openly discussed the challenges he faced growing up, the difficulty he faced after his mother, Princess Diana, and how he has been under intense scrutiny and expectations, all because he was born from a royal cloth. Harry went into details, talking about the moments that strained their father-to-son relationship. One of the most shocking truths Harry revealed revolved around King Charles's approach to parenting and the emotional toll it took on him, especially after his mother's death. So, what exactly did King Charles do? And how severe was it that Harry had to delve into revealing it to the public? Shouldn't Harry have chosen to fix things internally? Let's find out Harry's reasons.
I love my father, I love my brother, I love my family. I always do. Nothing of what I've done in this book or otherwise has ever been any intention to harm them or hurt them.
In 1981, King Charles got married to Lady Diana. It was a memorable ceremony watched by millions all around the world, and it revolved solemnly around Lady Diana. Why? Well, Lady Diana had what we could refer to as being likable. Even without her status as a princess, people were always fond of her. And when her marriage to King Charles took place, the public couldn't hold themselves as they fell in love with the beautiful and seemingly perfect princess. The couple added to the joy of their marriage. In 3 years, they had 2 children, Prince Williams and Prince Harry. Unfortunately, within 5 years, the marriage, which was remembered as a memorable one, began to show signs of strain. What exactly prompted this? It seemed like Charles and Diana weren't that compatible after all, as it became increasingly apparent by their significant age difference of over a decade. Now that is a lot of age difference. But this isn't the first time we've witnessed marriage with such a huge difference. So why could this couple not move past this minor problem and look beyond age, focusing on their 2 kids? Charles was known for being reserved, while Diana is more spontaneous. So perhaps this could be another reason the pair were becoming incompatible as time went on. 5 years later, after their marriage, King Charles did the unthinkable. He went on and began an affair with Camilla Parker Bowles.
Charles and Camilla began their long affair in October 1972 after an evening out at the exclusive London club Annabelle's in the heart of Mayfair.
The bizarre thing is that the pair relationship has been in existence long before his marriage with Diana. It didn't take long for such a public figure like Charles and Diana to have their marital problems out in public. As the year came to an end, the media was all in their business. Questions were asked and fingers were pointed at Charles. If he knew he was still in love with Camilla, then why did he go ahead and get married to Diana, and even had 2 kids with her? This was all too much for Diana to bear. So in 1992, the pair separated. Despite the divorce, Charles and Diana agreed to share custody of their 2 sons, Prince Williams and Prince Harry. Unfortunately, on August 31 in 1997, Diana was killed in a car crash in Paris. For Charles, this was a difficult period, as he had to manage his grief while also supporting his sons. Both of them were young at that time. Prince Williams was just 15, while Prince Harry was just 12. When the news got out about Diana's death, It sent millions into a sorrow state. Over the years, Harry's relationship with his father has been marked by both closeness and tension, shaped by the tragedy of Diana's death and the indifference between him and Charles. Years later, Harry revealed a book, Spare.
Publishers say over 400,000 copies of Prince Harry's autobiography, Spare, have been sold across the UK in its first day.
The book revolved around Harry's personal life and his complicated relationship with his brother and father. The book title has a story behind it, and you'd be shocked to hear the reason. Let's find out why. The title, Spare, is a reference to a remark made by no other but King Charles himself to his late wife just after Harry's birth. Charles made a comment G-shut after Harry was born, saying, "Now you have given me an heir and a spare. My work is done." This comment from Charles was strictly due to his obsession of producing an heir to the throne, which oftentimes the second child are often seen as a backup. The memoir also addresses Harry's relationship with his father. Nothing unforgettable memories, where he felt unsupported. Despite his attempts to connect with his father, Harry often felt overshadowed by the remark placed on him as just being the child, which has since made Harry feel inferior and unimportant to his brother William. So, what do you think has King Charles contributed majorly to the decline and breaking down of the royal family? How about Diana's death? Do you still think it was an accident? Let us know. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. The driver of Princess Diana, finally breaking his silence, shared chilling details live on TV that shook the world.
I had to turn away, think about it, and then grip myself back and get on with what I was doing.
Princess Diana's untimely and unusual injury, a mystery that has haunted us all, was revealed to be the cause of her tragic death.
She was talking and they were worried about other people, and it was only later that she had a very unusual injury.
I just felt that it was appearing every day in newspapers and various things that I was listening to people, and that was an emotional day on the day that she...
Imagine the driver's shock, hearing of the princess's horrific accident while he was in the comfort of his bed.
You got the phone call and,
Yes, I can, vividly.
What was it like? Where were you? And
I was in bed with my wife, and she answered the phone. I had a bit of banter with the guy on the other end, and then she looked round at me and said, "I think you better get up and sit on the end of the bed and take this phone call."
His colleague relayed to him with a grave tone that the princess had sustained severe injuries as a result of an unfortunate accident.
And it was a colleague from Balmoral who was telling me that Her Royal Highness was actually injured. And put the television on and you'll see. So that's what I did. You know, it was a bit of a shock. Got dressed and then went down to Kensington Palace.
Summoned to the palace after the accident, he recounted the surreal and heart-wrenching experience of being thrust into a tragedy.
Yes, it was quite difficult because Robin Cook, who was then the Foreign Secretary, was on the television giving what had happened. And he was explaining that she was injured. When in fact the private secretary, Michael, was telling the six of us in the office that sadly she'd...
When he landed in Paris, the atmosphere was thick with tension and sorrow, a city mourning the loss of a beloved icon.
Yes, the 24 hours was quite difficult. Getting to Paris was fine, getting to the embassy was great, except I didn't speak French. My wife speaks it fluently, which a phone helped. And I knew one of the military attachés, Brigadier Ritchie, who immediately came into the room, and he used to work with Princess Anne.
The hospital was flooded with people desperate to know the princess's condition, a testament to her global impact.
So I was taken in to help, where I went to the hotel, and then I went to the hospital, and arrived at the hospital, lots of people about. I think it was the first floor. and there was a lot of people.
The driver, maintaining his professionalism amid the chaos, felt the weight of the world's grief and disbelief.
Yes, I mean, I was an ex-inspector, but I did say that perhaps people are expecting lords, ladies and colonels in this in this particular instance, but we were dealt with by Sir Michael J. very, very well, and given everything that I needed, I was given.
He described the emotional torment of seeing Princess Diana in a hospital bed, a stark contrast to her usual radiant presence.
It's very difficult and emotional to see a person lying in a bed and not in a mortuary. And when I was in the room, which was very, very hot, I looked out of the window and I could see people on a roof. Now, whether they knew where the princess was, I don't know, but that worried me. So I got some blankets because there was no curtains, and we put blankets along the windows, which made it even hotter in the room. And I then went and got some fans to try and cool the room down. And that one moment in my life, which perhaps my professionalism was lacking a little bit, because as I turned round, the eyelashes and the hair of the princess were moving, caused by the fan. And that just struck me. I had to turn away, think about it, and then grip myself back and get on with what I was doing.
You didn't believe she would?
For a long time. I just refused to accept that she was gone. Part of, she would never do this to us, but also part of, maybe this is all part of a plan.
I mean, you really believed that maybe she had just decided to disappear for a time?
For a time, and then that she would call us and we would go and join her. Yeah.
How long did you believe that?
Years. Many, many years. And William and I talked about it as well. Mainly proof that she was in the car, proof that she was injured, and proof that the very paparazzi that chased her into the tunnel were the ones that were taking photographs of her lying half on the backseat of the car.
You write, I hadn't been aware before this moment, talking about looking at the pictures of the crash scene, that the last thing Mummy saw on this earth was a flashbulb. That's what you saw in the pictures.
The pictures showed the reflection of a group of photographers taking photographs through the window, and the reflection of the window was them.
Conspiracy theories swirled around the accident, each more sinister than the last, demanding thorough investigation.
I wasn't involved in the first examination, and of course she was then buried, so we didn't exhume her and have another look, but it was a review of all of the circumstances. There were so many conspiracy theories that needed to be looked at and properly examined. They were sort of glossed over a bit to begin with. So we went back and we did that. And so I looked obviously at the pathology, not just of Diana, but also of Henri Paul, who was the driver, and Dodie, who was her lover, and a guy called Trevor Rees-Jones, who was a security guard. So 4 people in that Mercedes. Now, if you have a crash at about 60 miles an hour in a Mercedes, you should walk away. And the thing I learned was that you put your seatbelt on, because Diana didn't have a seatbelt on. Dodie didn't have a seatbelt on. Henri Paul, the driver, didn't have a seatbelt on. Trevor Rees-Jones realised something was going wrong and just got his seatbelt on in time, because he lived to tell the tale. And when the car hit the bridge pillar, interestingly, the 13th pillar on the bridge, I mean, it adds to the conspiracy, doesn't it? It's got to be the 13th pillar. How the SAS managed to get them to hit the 13th pillar, I don't know. But, when they hit the pillar, Dodie hit the back of Henri Paul with a weight of about 3 elephants. And then Henri Paul hit the steering wheel. They were instantly. Diana wasn't badly injured. She'd broken an arm and had a couple of other little injuries. But, I mean, she should have survived, and she was partly protected by Rees-Jones, because she hit the back of his seat and was saved a bit. And in fact, when they arrived, they thought she was okay. She was talking, and they were worried about other people. And it was only later that she had a very unusual injury deep in the centre of her chest that no one knew was there. And when she became ill and collapsed, at that point, it became too late. And she after surgery.
Despite her royal status, the driver fondly remembered Princess Diana's tremendous sense of humour, a light in the darkness.
There is a line. You don't cross that line. You speak to when you're spoken to. And it is still very correct. She was still very royal. And yes, we were often together in the car, and it would be light conversation. She had a tremendous sense of humour. And wherever we went, I never had a crossword in the 2 years. Not one crossword. I think they went in too fast, but in the inquest that was sorted out. I've driven through the tunnel myself. There are stanchions in the tunnel, which if you can be taken a little bit by, if you're at two trains in a station, one moves out, you think you're moving. You go in too fast where there's stanchions, it's getting a little bit worrying. So whatever happened, I perhaps a little bit too fast and being taken away with the lady in the back.
And what are your memories of Princess Diana now? Because, of course, that was such an emotional time and 20 years ago, but when you think back and think of her legacy?
A great boss. I felt the last year, from August the 28th, when the divorce came through, that year up to she felt to me, because I didn't work with her years ago as a police officer, I was with Princess Anne, but she was good. She seemed to be living a good life and happy.
I was in bed in the embassy and the two phone calls came early on and told me that there had been an accident and clearly I needed to get to the hospital quickly. When we arrived, we were met by the French Interior Minister, Jean-Pierre Chevènement, and he said he had heard that there'd been the accident. She had been badly hurt, but didn't know how badly she'd been hurt. And then Chevènement was taken out by one of the nurses, and he came back in tears, really, and came up to me and said, "I'm afraid she's." But then after we had heard that she had, then I was on the phone, clearly to Robin Janvin in Balmoral to tell him so he could tell the royal family that she had, and also to Downing Street. It was just getting light. Two Mercedes drew up and I told him that the Princess of Wales was, he knew that his son had died, and we offered our condolences.
Prince Harry, grappling with his own grief, was shielded from viewing the more gruesome photographs of his mother's final moments.
All I saw was the back of my mum's head, slumped on the back seat. There were other more gruesome photographs, but I will be eternally grateful to him for denying me the ability to inflict pain on myself by saying that, because that's the kind of stuff that sticks in your mind forever.
There was a tremendous shock in the hospital at that stage. And certainly when I was told, and we were told that we were aware that this was a profoundly moving moment for all those who had been involved. My wife and I went to Villa Coublé, the official airport, to meet the Prince of Wales. He said how Prince William had wanted to go to church that morning, which was not, he said, something Prince William always wanted to do on a Sunday morning. So they had been to church, but throughout that day, that morning, he had wanted to do what he thought was in the best interests of two children who had lost their mother rather brutally. The feeling I had from the conversation I had with the Prince of Wales and conversation I had later on with the Queen was the concern of a family who had lost a member of that family, and a family, and particularly the Prince of Wales, who knew that his children had lost their mother. Curious, the nation wanted to share their grief, it seems to me, with someone, and the person they wanted to share their grief with was the Queen. And when the Queen came to London, I think that was, in a sense, a cathartic moment for the royal family, and was a sense that the royal family and the Queen was responding to the grief which the nation felt.
She was the villain. She was the third person in the marriage. She needed.
Let's take a look at the intriguing and controversial life of King Charles, a prominent figure in the British royal family, as Kayleigh McEnany unveils a comprehensive exposé on his secrets, scandals, and untold stories. This revealing narrative also sheds light on the journey of his current queen consort, Camilla Parker Bowles. From the early days of Camilla's romance with Prince Charles, through years of public scrutiny and scandal, to her eventual acceptance into the royal fold, we explore every detail of their complex relationship. Discover how a single phone call almost brought down the British monarchy, and how a secret love affair existed long before Princess Diana came into the picture. Get ready to delve into the hidden truths behind the headlines, as we examine how Camilla transformed from one of the most reviled women in Britain to queen consort. This story spans decades and includes some of the most shocking moments in royal history, as revealed by Kaylee McEnany. Starting from the beginning, we follow the current Queen Consort, Camilla Parker Bowles, and King Charles as they navigate their new roles amidst ongoing public scrutiny. Their relationship has been anything but smooth, marked by scandal and controversy, notably during Charles's marriage to Princess Diana. However, the revelations didn't stop there. Uncover the secret Queen Camilla revealed about King Charles, and explore the royal love story that intertwines Charles, Camilla, and Diana, adding layers of intrigue to this narrative that mirrors a fairy tale with its unexpected twists and turns. On a breezy afternoon in 1970, during a polo match at Windsor Great Park, Charles encountered Camilla. She broke the ice by mentioning that her great-grandmother had been the mistress of Charles's great-great-grandfather, highlighting their shared history. It's quite an introduction. Historians suggest they may have been introduced by a mutual friend, Lucia Santa Cruz, but regardless of how it happened, sparks flew, and they began dating. Their bond was genuine, marked by real happiness and togetherness. However, their romance was interrupted when Charles was sent to serve in the Royal Navy. During their time apart, Camilla made a pivotal decision and married Andrew Parker Bowles in 1973, a man who had once dated Charles's sister, Princess Anne. Despite her marriage, Camilla and Charles maintained their connection, with Charles even becoming the godfather to Camilla's son Tom. Rumor has it that Charles made a last-minute attempt to stop Camilla's wedding. Imagine the heartache of watching someone you love marry another. Before Diana entered the scene, Charles had a brief romance with her sister, Sarah Spencer, in 1977. This relationship ended when Sarah overshared with the press, but she played a crucial role in introducing Charles to her younger sister, Diana, at Althorpe House during a pheasant hunt. This introduction set the stage for Charles and Diana's relationship. Charles's relationship with Diana was heavily influenced by royal expectations. By the late 1970s, he was under pressure to find a suitable wife, and Diana, young and seemingly perfect for the role of a princess, fit the bill. Despite this, Charles's heart always seemed to be drawn to Camilla. Their early days were filled with joy, a stark contrast to the challenges that lay ahead for Charles. The impact of Charles's first love with Camilla was profound, enduring through the years. Camilla would later reveal the full truth about Charles. But before we get to that revelation, let's delve deeper into Charles and Diana's story, from teenage crush to royal partnership. Their early days were filled with charming but awkward moments. In November 1977, Diana, a 16-year-old schoolgirl, met 28-year-old Charles, a prominent royal figure, at Althorpe. Thanks to her sister Sarah, who had once dated Charles, the dinner was buzzing with excitement when the prince arrived. Diana made a lasting impression with her lively personality, catching Charles's attention. He even asked her for a dance after dinner, marking their first formal meeting. In 1978, Diana found herself amid the grandeur of Buckingham Palace, attending Charles's 30th birthday celebration. This event, filled with royalty and elite figures, was a world Diana, still a teenager, had to navigate. Their next notable meeting occurred 2 years later, in 1980, at a friend's house party. During this time, Charles was deeply affected by the tragic loss of Lord Mountbatten. Diana's empathy and kind words touched Charles profoundly. She noticed his sadness and told him he shouldn't be lonely and deserved someone to care for him. This genuine moment of compassion brought them closer, revealing a side of Diana that Charles hadn't fully seen before. Diana's popularity with the public soared, endearing her to the British people with her genuine warmth and relatability. This increasing public admiration added strain to her already challenging marriage with Charles. The constant media spotlight created a fishbowl existence for Diana, where every move was scrutinized and every gesture analyzed. Despite the glamour and prestige of her position, Diana's life was far from a fairy tale, filled with personal struggles and a relentless quest for privacy and normalcy for herself and her children. Her journey was marked by immense personal growth and resilience, even as she sought to find her own identity within the strict confines of royal expectations. Later that year, Diana received an invitation to the royal family's Balmoral estate. This visit was significant, almost like an audition for royal approval. Diana fit in effortlessly, charming everyone with her natural ease, and even learning to fish with Charles. The paparazzi quickly caught on to their growing relationship, and Diana became a media sensation. They were particularly captivated by a photo of her at her kindergarten job, which inadvertently revealed more than intended due to the sunlight behind her skirt. Charles's comment about Diana's legs being spectacular indicated a shift in their relationship to something more personal and less formal. By January 1981, with the media frenzy at its peak, Prince Philip decided it was time for Charles to make a decision. He sent a letter to Charles, urging him to either propose to Diana or end their relationship to protect her reputation. Charles took this as a royal mandate, leading to a proposal and what would become the wedding of the century. On February 6, 1981, Charles proposed to Diana, and she accepted. This royal engagement was a major event, filled with immense pressure and expectations. A few weeks after the proposal, the couple gave a televised interview. It was charming until a seemingly simple question cast a shadow over their happy news. When asked if they were in love, Diana immediately said yes, but Charles's ambiguous response about what being in love meant raised some eyebrows. At the time, this was perhaps seen as typical royal reserve. On July 29, 1981, the highly anticipated royal wedding took place at St. Paul's Cathedral in London, drawing an estimated 750 million viewers worldwide. Diana, stunning in an ivory silk gown with a 25-foot train, the longest ever worn by a British royal bride, exuded elegance despite her visible nerves, which led her to mistakenly call Charles by the wrong name during their vows. The wedding's splendor was undeniable, yet hints of underlying challenges and pressures were present from the beginning. Remarkably, Diana and Charles had only met 13 times before his proposal. Imagine committing to marriage after so few encounters. Their honeymoon, expected to be filled with romance and joy, turned out to be far from idyllic. Instead of basking in newlywed bliss, the couple spent time reading books by Charles's favorite author, Lawrence van der Post. Diana later revealed in taped interviews for a biography that her hopes had already faded by the second day of the honeymoon. She felt exhausted and emotionally drained, not from happiness, but from the immense pressure of adapting to her new royal role. In retrospect, both the engagement and wedding were grand yet bittersweet events, marked by celebration and underlying struggles, with millions witnessing only the surface glitter, unaware of the deeper challenges. Despite their history, Camilla attended the royal wedding, likely due to her husband, Andrew Parker Bowles's position as the commanding officer of the Household Cavalry Mounted Regiment. At this time, both Charles and Camilla were married to others, and it seemed their romantic involvement had ended. However, soon enough, royal secrets would begin to unravel, revealing that the fairy tale was more complex than it appeared. Diana's turbulent royal life. From the moment Diana stepped into the royal spotlight, her life seemed like a fairy tale. However, beneath the grandeur and sparkling tiaras lay a world of struggle, heartache, and private battles. Let's delve into the challenges Princess Diana faced during her marriage to Prince Charles, including mental health issues, public scandals, and a marriage fraught with turmoil. At just 19 years old, Diana transitioned abruptly from a simple life in a London flat shared with friends to the isolated opulence of Buckingham Palace. The lively girl who charmed everyone at Balmoral soon became distressed and jealous, her moods swinging wildly under the intense pressures of her new royal duties, according to her biographer, Penny Junor. The constant scrutiny and high expectations overwhelmed her, marking the beginning of a turbulent royal journey. The spotlight only magnified Diana's private struggles. She battled bulimia, a disorder often reflecting deeper emotional turmoil. Penny Junor notes that this wasn't just about food. It was a manifestation of Diana's ongoing mental health issues, rooted in a traumatic childhood marred by her parents' unhappy marriage. Diana later described bulimia as a secret disease, a desperate attempt to find comfort, followed by intense disgust and further emotional pain. One of the most heartbreaking moments in Diana's story occurred on the eve of her wedding. Her astrologer revealed that Charles confessed he didn't love her just before their wedding, a time that should have been filled with hope and joy, not despair. This devastating confession set a tone of heartache from the start. The strains in their relationship were exacerbated by lingering connections to past relationships. Just before their wedding, Diana found a bracelet Charles had intended for Camilla Parker Bowles, inscribed with the initials G and F, nicknames for each other. This discovery, amid intense public scrutiny, deepened Diana's insecurities and doubts. Diana's candid revelations about her struggles came to light in her 1995 interview with Martin Bashir, where she openly discussed her bulimia and feelings of inadequacy. This interview, though controversial in how it was obtained, offered a glimpse into the profound isolation and distress Diana experienced, highlighting her bravery in confronting such personal demons publicly. Behind the smiles and royal duties was a woman who battled severe personal challenges, fought for her sense of self, and faced a marriage that began with a heartbreakingly honest admission. Despite the facade of a fairy tale, Diana's royal life was marked by profound personal growth and resilience in the face of immense pressure. Charles, Camilla, and Diana. The hidden turmoil behind the royal facade. The discovery of a bracelet intended for Camilla Parker Bowles set off a chain of events that would eventually lead to the divorce of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. Although Camilla attended the royal wedding, many believed she and Charles had not been in contact for 5 years. The reality, however, was quite different, and the truth was about to unravel in a most dramatic fashion. Before the chaos, Charles and Diana's marriage appeared to be a fairy tale. However, behind the palace doors, it was a different story. Charles had a history with Camilla Parker Bowles, a vibrant woman he met through a friend in the 1970s. They clicked instantly, but the expectations of royal life pushed Charles to seek a wife who fit the mold of a future queen. Lady Diana Spencer was young and noble, but perhaps not entirely prepared for the challenges ahead. In 1981, she and Charles exchanged vows in a grand royal wedding. The twist. Camilla was present among the multitude of guests, and not just as an observer. Unbeknownst to the radiant bride, the stage for a royal scandal had already been set. As the initial enchantment of the marriage wore off, the harsh reality of their loveless union hit Diana hard. She felt isolated and unloved, while Charles seemed distant, his affections elsewhere. It wasn't long before Diana's suspicions about Charles's fidelity grew, leading to a shocking discovery. A bracelet intended as a gift from Charles to Camilla, hidden away, but not well enough. The bracelet, a secret token meant for Camilla just before Charles's wedding to Diana, surfaced at the worst possible time. Diana confronted Charles, but received nothing more than excuses and dismissals. However, small clues, a phone call here, a bouquet of flowers there, indicated this was no ordinary friendship. The royal marriage was deteriorating, and the public was beginning to take notice. By 1989, the situation had reached a breaking point. Charles and Camilla had rekindled their old romance, and Diana was fully aware. She decided she had had enough. At a birthday party attended by both Camilla and Diana, the stage was set for a royal confrontation. Summoning all her courage, Diana approached Camilla for a chat. The air was thick with tension as Diana laid it all out, making it clear she knew what was going on between her and Charles. Camilla, though caught off guard, maintained her composure and responded in a way that must have felt like a slap, telling Diana she had everything she could want: men falling in love with her and 2 beautiful children. Diana, burdened by her broken heart, simply expressed her desire for her husband. The confrontation didn't magically solve anything. Diana knew she was fighting a losing battle. With dignity, she ended the conversation, leaving a stinging reminder to Camilla that despite their mutual difficulties, she was fully aware of the affair and refused to be treated like a fool. This event marked the beginning of the end for Charles and Diana's marriage. Their relationship, which had started with such public fanfare, was now crumbling under the weight of deceit and betrayal. As the royal secrets spilled into the public domain, the fairy tale facade disintegrated, revealing the complex and painful reality behind the palace walls. Royal breakups and conspiracies, The late 80s marked the beginning of the end for the fairy tale marriage of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. By 1986, their lives had drifted apart, with Charles seeking comfort in the familiar company of Camilla Parker Bowles, rekindling a relationship that had never truly extinguished. In December 1992, the British Prime Minister made a televised announcement declaring the official separation of Charles and Diana. The situation took a dramatic turn in the summer of 1994, when Charles, during a revealing interview with Jonathan Dimbleby, openly admitted to his affair. His cold demeanor towards Diana and their sons caused a public outcry and led Camilla's husband, Andrew Parker Bowles, to seek a divorce. The fallout was swift and relentless. Diana had her moment to speak in November 1995 with her now famous Panorama interview, candidly stating, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." This was a breaking point for the Queen, who soon after urged Charles and Diana to divorce. By August 1996, their marriage was officially dissolved. The story took a tragic turn just a year later when Diana died in a car crash in Paris in 1997, at only 36 years old. As paparazzi chased their car, it crashed in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, resulting in the deaths of Diana, her companion, Dodi Fayed, and the driver, Henry Paul. Her bodyguard survived but was severely injured. The tragic incident sparked numerous conspiracy theories. Some speculated that the crash was not a mere accident but a calculated move, possibly involving the royal family to clear the path for Charles to marry Camilla. Although Charles initially claimed he had no plans to remarry, the reality turned out differently. In the late 80s, the public facade of Prince Charles and Princess Diana's marriage began to show significant cracks. By 1986, they were living almost entirely separate lives. Charles revived his relationship with Camilla Parker Bowles, an old flame whose bond with him had never completely faded. The public announcement of their separation came in December 1992, delivered by the British Prime Minister on national television. A crucial moment occurred in the summer of 1994, when Charles, in an interview with Jonathan Dimbleby, admitted to his affair with Camilla. His apparent lack of affection towards Diana and their sons caused a stir, prompting Camilla's husband, Andrew Parker Bowles, to file for divorce. The chain reaction was swift and dramatic. Diana's candid Panorama interview in November 1995, where she famously remarked, "There were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded," prompted the Queen to advise Charles and Diana to divorce. By August 1996, their marriage was officially over. Tragically, just a year later, Diana died in a car crash in Paris in 1997 at the age of 36. Pursued by paparazzi, the car crashed in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, claiming the lives of Diana, her companion Dodi Fayed, and the driver Henry Paul. Her bodyguard survived but was critically injured. The circumstances of Diana's death quickly became enveloped in conspiracy theories. Speculations arose that the crash was not simply an accident, with some suggesting that the royal family might have been involved to facilitate Charles's marriage to Camilla. Despite Charles's initial assertions of having no plans to remarry, the future would reveal a different reality, adding another layer of complexity to this already intricate royal saga. The story of Charles and Camilla old love, they say, never truly dies. It simply waits for the right moment to flourish once more. This was certainly the case for Prince Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles, whose romance reignited under difficult circumstances following Princess Diana's tragic death in 1997. Navigating the intense media scrutiny and public heartbreak over Diana, Charles and Camilla faced a challenging journey toward acceptance. In 1998, Prince William, still in his teens, met Camilla during a visit to his father at St. James's Palace. The encounter was understandably tense, marking the beginning of Camilla's gradual introduction into William and Harry's lives. Their early meetings over lunches and teas were awkward but necessary steps toward building a relationship. Initially, Queen Elizabeth II showed no support for Camilla, even referring to her as that wicked woman. It wasn't until 2000 that the Queen began to soften, joining Charles and Camilla for a lunch that quietly indicated her acceptance. Things started looking up when Charles and Camilla made their first public appearance together in January 1999 at a birthday party for Camilla's sister. Arriving separately to maintain a low profile, they left together, causing a media frenzy and slowly easing Camilla into the public eye. By the time of the Queen Mother's funeral in 2002, Camilla stood by Charles, presenting herself as his partner. That same year, she undertook her first solo public engagement, a significant step in her public life. In 2003, the couple moved in together at Clarence House, making their relationship official without the bond of marriage. Everything changed on February 10, 2005, when Charles and Camilla announced their engagement, a moment that captured headlines and public interest. Camilla humorously shared that Charles had indeed gotten down on one knee to propose. The engagement was warmly welcomed by the royal family, with William and Harry expressing their happiness for the couple. The wedding, held on April 9, 2005 at Windsor Guildhall, was a modest affair. They chose a simple ceremony with close family and friends, foregoing the typical grandeur of a royal wedding. The Queen did not attend the ceremony, but joined the couple for the blessing at St. George's Chapel afterward. In the wake of Diana's death in 1997, Charles and Camilla found their romance rekindled amidst public mourning and media scrutiny.